Thanks. Thanks. Is it on? Thanks very much, Trevor. Greetings to the members of the media, and also greetings to the Premier of Gauteng, the DG or the acting DG of the department, and to the Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and thank you for coming. We are using this opportunity to announce the plans to further strengthen employment creation and measures to mitigate the unemployment in the country. Of critical importance for me is how we respond to the challenge of unemployment and the plans we implement to mitigate it on an ongoing basis. We've been talking about this matter for the past 5 years, but even the previous administration has been talking about this challenge. Even the oncoming administration will still be talking about this issue because this is an international phenomenon. Yes, at the end of the day, only substantial economic growth and development will rescue the country from huge unemployment challenge. But in the meantime, we also believe that government, working with all the stakeholders, has a major role to play in mitigating unemployment and creating and preserving jobs. So today, we are announcing the launch of our UIF Labor Activation Program, which we call it LEP, Training for Employment and Entrepreneurship Programs. The first of these launches, because they are national, is going to be here in Gauteng with the provincial government and to be progressively rolled out during April throughout the provinces and countrywide. So on Saturday, the 6th, we will be launching in Gauteng. And if I'm right, Premier, it's Nazareth.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the first one. But we will also give you, through the DG, a rollout throughout April of the other dates of the programs. Significant strides have been made by government through the various interventions over time. These include initiatives and programs from a number of government departments led by the presidents, and most notably, those undertaken with our partners in the private sector through the labor activation programs. We remain deeply indebted to the private business for their willingness to work side by side with the government in the enormous task of employment creation across the various sectors and the industries. Key to the success of our collaboration with the private sector has been the Unemployment Insurance Fund, which continues to fund labor activation programs through the collection of the contributions from the employers and the employees and the revenue generated from investments in order to meaningfully contribute to elevation of poverty and unemployment in the country. The UIF is best known for paying out unemployment and maternity benefits, but the UIF Act gives it a much larger mandate to mitigate unemployment, and this includes a number of things. The Temporary Employee Relief Scheme, which we call it TERFs, administered by the CCMA for distressed companies, and the Business Turnaround and Recovery Program of the Productivity South Africa. The training of the unemployed for employment, supporting the enterprise development and entrepreneurship, and economic growth and job creation through the social investment. And in tandem with the strengthened employment mandate of the Department of Employment and Labor, a labor activation program unit was established within the UIF to enhance the employment mandate. Some will remember that this department was a Department of Labor with the focus on the labor market and focus on regulating the labor market. But at the beginning of this administration, a mandate of employment was created to also coordinate the employment programs. That meant that we had to restructure the department, reconfigure the department. It's a process which we started, although not complete. However, the issue of job creation is still very key. So the lab projects we are launching today, they build on this mandate by enhancing the employability of the unemployed through training, enabling entrepreneurship through enterprise development, preserving jobs through the CCMA and Productivity South Africa, collaboration across the government departments and entities to massify jobs, the skills training, and enterprise creation. Some of you will recall that every time when analysts are talking or opinion makers, they always talk about the major problem or challenge which is linked to the issue of unemployment. It's the question of the skills. You will remember that, where they would say the issue is structural. Therefore, we need to invest more on the skills. And some have also said creating entrepreneurs is very key because 80% of the jobs all over the world are coming from small enterprises. You know that a number of companies also have been retrenching through Section 189 of the Labor Relations Act. We've been very active there through the CCMA, saving a number of jobs. But also Productivity South Africa has been very key on those companies which are going down. So we're collaborating across the government departments and entities, therefore, to massify the jobs. I can tell you that as early as next week, we'll be talking about the joint program with the Department of Higher Education, with the small businesses, which is also collaborating with the program we're talking about today. And I also need to flag that the projects have all been subjected to meticulous quality assurance processes to ensure they are compliant with the policy and legislation. There are also, or there are necessary controls in place. There is capacity and necessary resources in place, and that these programs produce the real outcomes in terms of the jobs and entrepreneurial skills or prospects. So employability interventions are delivered through contracts with a condition that they guarantee jobs for beneficiaries with a minimum period of employment of 1 year post-intervention. When we came, there was this training program which I inherited from my predecessor. But this program was just training. What we did was to add an element of saying, no. Train them and put them in jobs. That's what we added. Because training the young people just for 3 months, for 6 months, and then you leave them, it's not very helpful. So the major element is the one which we're talking about. That they must, whilst they are being trained for a minimum period, 6 months, a year, getting stipends, but after that, they must be linked to the companies to absorb them, even if they are going to observe them for a year or two. That's very important. So the UIF provides a sliding scale of the funding support for programs, which is 70% of participants will be contributors, and a maximum of 30% will be non-contributors. That is with 100% UIF funding. Ladies and gentlemen, Labor activation programs are not a silver bullet to end the challenge of unemployment, but they are a viable force multiplier that can be used together with other initiatives and interventions as part of the response to mitigate unemployment. Therefore, after much consultation and contemplation, we have decided to invest substantially in partnership with the private sector to create thousands of employment opportunities. So as we finalize those programs with the different companies, we will be announcing them so that you are able to look at whether we are producing. So these sectors and industries that will contribute significantly to the creation of these opportunities, they include economic growth in demand sectors such as agriculture, ICT, construction, engineering, manufacturing, education, transport, and mining. An amount of 23.8 billion will be allocated to implement this plan. Opportunities will run between 12 to 36 months. The money invested in the plan will be recouped by the UIF through contributions and revenue generated from investment, as has been substantial or as has been the sustainability model of the fund. There is a saying that the proof is in the pudding, or the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Yes. So the proof is in the pudding. The UIF has proven that it is capable of employing strategic measures such as COVID TERS benefits, distributing 64 billion to millions of laid-off workers and their families during the pandemic, whilst remaining financially sound. You remember our intervention during that tough period. The spread of our implementation nationally will be across every province, with 333 recommended projects to provide training, small enterprise support, and employment opportunities to 704,000 will be available on Saturday. The Department of Employment and Labor, together with the UIF, will be partnering with provincial governments Nasispani project to ensure that the government maximizes the impact of its spending by pooling resources and eliminating duplication. And phase 2 will take place in April 2024, that is on the 12th. This is a collaboration with provinces, will assist in matching of the project's recruitment funding, build partnership, and will reduce duplication too. Projects will be broken down into districts to ensure and even spread across Gauteng in the first instance and then in the other provinces. A key benefit to us with this approach is the shared responsibility of managing and monitoring the projects. Opportunities will be created over 22 sectors as follows: agriculture, services, construction, IT, wholesale and retail, safety and security, hospitality, social services, textile, transport, furniture manufacturing, education, energy, and the beverage, it's energy, food and beverage, health and wellness, aviation and insurance, jewelry, hygiene, arts and culture, and the financial sector. Details of other launches and the impact that will be delivered from these projects will be communicated on an ongoing basis. The DG will be able to give you the dates of the different launches in the different provinces, which, yes, is the same principle, but the peculiarities of the different provinces will inform us. Some of the provinces are more rural than others. The focus might be on certain industries than it will be on what you would call the urban provinces. So the plan, ladies and gentlemen, demonstrates our commitment to creating employment opportunities for our people and to embed these processes and programs into the future. So that's where we are. And thank you very much. And the Premier, the DG and Commissioner, they will answer the questions.
Okay, thank you, Minister, for the address. Colleagues, at this juncture, we are going to open the floor for some questions, if there are any questions from yourselves. There might be some of you that would want to undertake one-on-ones after the fact, but for now, let's open the floor and see if there are any questions from your side. Any takers? Okay, there seems to be no takers. Is there, perhaps we can use this opportunity to invite the Premier to give some insight into what would be happening from the provincial government side. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Trevor. Mine is very simple, is to shower our minister with praises and the DG. I know I'm not a favorite person with the DG. I'm keeping them busy as we prepare for the launch in Gauteng. So, Minister, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, not only for your understanding, but for demonstrating how departments can work. I'm not separating you from your colleagues. It was painful to discuss e-tolls. It was also painful to discuss police wardens with our national ministers. But on this one, it was just a smooth sailing. And I want to thank you, Minister, for that. On Saturday, we are taking almost 500,000 unemployed people in Gauteng off the streets back to class. We are creating these opportunities for them, and we'll make proper announcement on Saturday on how the program will run. But for the first time in the history of our country, I don't recall, Minister, that is why I want to thank you. For the first time in the history of our country, to go out there and hunt for more than 500,000 unemployed people in our communities is not a child's play. So we're excited as Gauteng that we are the first.
And the formal launch will be in the Northern Cape, and it will be in Appington on the 9th of May. So the nature and the size of this program, which is being multiplied, is actually going to be the same across the country. And the unveiling of those service providers that are going to be delivering this employment opportunities and training opportunities is one of the most evidence-based programs that we are putting in place to say we are not just calling out companies and giving numbers. We are saying here are the companies and here is the work that they will be doing. And these are the number of people that they will be taking into their programs. And that is how we will then be rolling out this program across. I need to say this is not the first of the programs of the Labor Activation Program, as Minister had said. But this program is on a scale that is higher than any other program we've done before on our need and very important response we need to be making on the crisis of unemployment. So the programs that we have been rolling out in the past as the UIF has been maybe 28 projects in a year that would probably have about 20,000 beneficiaries. So it has become very important for us to accelerate the implementation of those programs that are responding to the high unemployment rate that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, if there are still no takers for questions and you would prefer your one-on-ones, that's fine. Then we are going to, with the permission of you, Minister, we'll close the briefing and then take one-on-ones just before Minister gets on the way. Minister has other commitments to get to. So, colleagues, thanks for your time, and we will still be here for a while to take some information from you or provide you with information if there's any information that you need. We'll also share Minister's speech so that you can use that. With that said, and with the permission from Minister, the briefing is declared closed. Thank you. Hoi hoi. Hoi hoi.
Oi, oi. Oi, oi.